16th, 2025. We're making the turn here onto Columbia Street in Port Jeff Station. We're going to be going by the Port Jefferson branch here, by the yard. We're going to be making a track west of here. We're going to be seeing train 3682, the deadhead move between Jamaica Stewart Yard and Port Jefferson. Equipment on that one tonight is DM30AC 508 the leader, 512 on the rear with 8 C3s. As we're just taking a turn onto Highlands Boulevard as we just went by the yard, and we're going by the leads right now into Port Jeff Yard, looking straight ahead at the Port Jeff Y to turn around locomotives. 3682 scheduled to pass by St. James at about 6:05. It's running a couple minutes late out of Hicksville. So we'll be seeing 3682 tonight. Last week we did not because I made the trip back from New Jersey. And this is Port Jefferson Station right over here. Station was just rehabbed about 4 or 5 years ago with new LED lighting, new station canopy, new platform railing, and also the parking lot got redone. Originally, the station at Port Jefferson got redone back in 2000. Pedestrian bridge came in place in 1997, and the station itself got redone in 2000, with the station building itself shut down for a little bit in 2001 and then reopened with the new parking lot, or with the redone parking lot, with the expansion of the parking lot on the south side of the tracks at Union Street. We're going to be making a track up north towards the ferry docks, and we'll be heading towards St. James. All right, heading north here on Belterre Road in Port Jefferson Village, and we're going by St. Charles Hospital over here on the left. We'll be passing St. Charles Hospital. We'll be making a left-hand turn onto East Main Street, heading by the ferry docks. Being that it is the last couple of weeks of the unofficial end, till the unofficial end of summer, Port Jefferson Village, especially by the docks, is very crowded. And especially get onto the ferry, no exception. All right, we're going down a steep grade here on East Main Street coming from Belterre Road. Of course, the road by the ferry docks is extremely low grade, almost at the level of the sea. We're going to be passing the ferry dock. We have the Grand Republic in the docks right now. Grand Republic of the Port Jeff Ferry was built in 2003, replaced the original Grand Republic, which is now the Mary Ellen of the Cross Sound Ferry, which acquired the original Grand Republic. And again, no exception over here, as again, we're going by the ferry docks here at Port Jeff, and there is the Grand Republic right there in view, and we're going to be passing Main Street itself, and we're going to be going on to West Main Street, and we're going to be making the track towards St. James. All right, just passing the light here of Nichols Road here on 25A, North Country Road here in Stony Brook. We're about to go by the station at Stony Brook. Long Island train 6656 versus the scoot train between Huntington and Port Jeff. We're either going to be missing it by a couple of minutes upon arrival at St. James, or we'll be seeing it at the arrival at St. James. The train arrives at St. James roughly at about, usually passes Kings Park at around 5:45, 5:50, and should get to St. James shortly before 3682 does. And you're looking at the signal bridge of Stony 2 interlocking, governing the interlocking of Stony 2. for eastbound trains. Passing by Stony Brook Station right now. And as we're driving west, you're going to be seeing the signal bridge of the home signals at the west end of Stony Brook Station governing Stony 1 interlocking. Signal on the left is the main, signal on the right is the controlled siding track. Port Jefferson branch is Route 261 territory, running in either direction on any track with remote signaling. Signaling used to be operated by divide interlocking, and since Jamaica Control Center opened, pretty much the entire Long Island Railroad, except for a few spots on the railroad, is governed by JCC. The only exception of the Long Island Railroad that JCC does not control is Brook interlocking over in Brooklyn, governing the area of Atlantic Terminal, and Lead, which governs the drawbridge at Long Beach. Everything else pretty much is governed by Jamaica Control Center. Looking to the left over here is the Museums of Stony Brook. For a while, the Long Island Railroad donated the steam locomotive G5 S 10-wheeler number 39 until Project 39 took it in 1979. It's been on the property in Riverhead since then, 1979, 1980. And for quite a few years, the boiler itself is now in Strasburg awaiting donations for a full restoration to take everything else to Strasburg. As we're continuing our journey west here on New York Route 25A. All right, we just made the turn into the Flowerfield Industrial Park here between Stony Brook and St. James. Looking at the Port Jefferson branch on the left, we're going to be passing the former site of Flowerfield Station. Flowerfield closed right around 1980, same time as Setauket Station did due to the low ridership. Basically between Port Jefferson and Port Jefferson, Stony Brook, and St. James are pretty much within close proximity. So at that point, of course, this station closed. Now up to the left over here would be the crossing going into which is now part of the Stony Brook University campus. The crossing gates is still here. However, the crossing itself is closed as the plates between the running rails were removed quite a few years ago. All right, we're going down south here at Mills Pond Road. We're going to be passing the Port Jefferson branch here. Just off to the left is post number 51. We're going to be parking at our usual spot to watch 3682 pass. All right, so now it's 5:52 as train 6656, the scoot train between Jamaica Storage Yard, between Huntington and Port Jefferson is going through. D38C 407 a liter. with 5001 on the rear. This is a 4-car set. All right, time now 6:01, 3682 is actually reported 2 minutes early. It's just passing the Nisqually River Road crossing. As you could hear the horn of DM30AC 508 in the background, blowing for the crossing at River Road. And the time now is 6:02, and we're going to see the passing of train 3682. DM30AC 508 the leader, 512 on the rear with 8 C3s. This is train 3682, the deadhead between Jamaica Storage Yard and Port Jefferson.